One very common scenario when folks are creating presets on their Line 6 Helix is this particular scenario. Let's say I have this little, what looks like a very simple basic preset setup. You'll notice I have a mono poly capo block that I have at the beginning of my chain, and I've added in a solo lead clean. Let's say I wanted to continue maybe adding another version of the solo lead amp model, maybe the Crunch or the OD, and I come over here to a freed up block to add it in here. I go over to my amps and I notice that the vast majority of them are grayed out. I do not have the ability to add any other amp to this path. Now, depending on what other type of block we look at, we'll look and we see that the poly sustain is grayed out over here in the delays. Over here, we have the poly detune that's grayed out, some of our distortion pedals, and so on and so forth. So we're now all of a sudden very limited to what we can add to this path. Now, you might ask why. Well, it's very simple. The Helix has two processors in it. One of the processors is dedicated to this top path, and another processor is dedicated to this bottom path. And this is something a lot of folks don't realize. Of course, a lot of folks do realize this, but we have to be very careful in how we manage our presets so that we can load it up with all the things we want. So what has happened here is that because we've put on a block that is quite processor power intensive, the polycapo in this instance, it's limited what else we can add to this path. So what we can do is we can always go down. You'll notice here at the end of the path is I have it sending this signal to path 2A. We could come down to path 2, and you'll notice that those same amps that were once grayed out are no longer grayed out down here because we're now trying to utilize them on the Helix other processor. So I could come down and add the solo lead crunch and maybe even come down and add the solo lead OD. So by spreading the processing between both paths, we are going to be able to add more to our preset and hopefully be able to add everything that we need. So if you are seeing grayed out blocks over here, it simply means that that particular path has been tapped out as far as processing power goes for those particular blocks that are grayed out. What we have to do is move either something from up here down to the other path, and I could do that simply by doing something like this. I could drag that one down there, and then you'll notice now it frees up processing power for the top path. So that's just a very quick video to make folks aware of this because it is a question that I see a lot. I hope that that's somewhat helpful, at least in making you aware of what you need to do if you are running into those gray blocks and running out of processing power. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you enjoy the music on the way out. Link is below in the description for the presets you hear on the outro.